Hello and welcome to my September-October newsletter video update. I have lots to share with you in this video, including an update on my weekly system and my daily system trades, and some new trades that I want to share with you as well. So if you missed my last newsletter video, you can view it from my website or from my YouTube channel. Now, just before I get started, I just need to remind you that I'm not licensed to provide any personal investment advice. This video and all the charts and trades I share with you are for illustrative purposes only, and I'm just showing you how I view the current market and sharing this with you. So let's move on over to Metastock and see what's been happening in the market lately. On the screen here is a chart of the ASX 200. Now the ASX 200 has still been continuing its upward movement, and it did move beyond another resistance level going back a couple of months ago. And if we zoom in, you can see that it's still holding this uptrend line, which is a good sign. Now it has had a fall over the most part of last week, and if we go to the daily chart, you can see that fall that's occurred in here. But overall, it is still trending higher. So when you look at the weekly chart, as we were just looking at it, that uptrend line is still in place, and it's also still above its 30-week moving average. So the health is still in the market. And you will see the market go up and down. It's not just going to keep going up. You're going to have these swings up and these swings down and these swings up and these swings down, as long as the highs are getting higher in the process. Now we are getting some equal highs showing up on the daily chart here. So it is building up some daily resistance. But overall, unless it sort of breaks through any support or uptrend line, then it's still healthy. And I'm just moving that support line down a bit lower because I can see there's a lot more touches around this area here, which makes it more significant than the previous one I had on the chart. So there you go. There is a little bit of a support level here, and it is building up resistance here. But that uptrend is still in place. Now let's go over and see what's been happening in the US market. I'll just save this chart. Now here's a weekly chart of the S&P 500. It's still in blue sky territory, and it's still been powering along. You can see the original uptrend channel that it's been in, and it's still touching the top of that uptrend channel line, and it has developed a slightly steeper uptrend channel within there, which is basically mirroring the 30-week moving average. And if we go over to the daily chart, there you go. You can see more of that movement that's occurring in there with that steeper uptrend line, and it's edged up and is touching the top of the uptrend channel line. So this market's still looking good as well. Now I've had a lot that's happened with my trades over the last couple of weeks, and I want to share this with you. So as you know, I predominantly trade two systems. I've got my medium-term daily trading system that trades CFDs and has an average hold time of about 30 days. And that system trades both long and short in direction. And then I've got my long-term weekly share trading system that I can hold anywhere from a few months up to a couple of years. So I like to share trades with you each newsletter from both these systems. So let's go back to Metastock and have a look at one of the trades I've had open and active with the weekly system for quite some time now. Here's a trade that I opened back on the 26th of October, and I've been updating you on this trade in each of my newsletter updates. And as you know, I bought into it again and again. Now, since my last newsletter video update, it hasn't really gone anywhere, and my stop loss has not moved any higher. But I'm happy to sit in this share and continue to manage it and see what happens. And as long as I have my stop loss in place and it's in profit, I'm happy to stay with it. So I've held this trade so far for 686 trade days. I have made a 59% return based on where my current stop loss is sitting on the chart, which is currently sitting here at $54.82. And I've made a 7.9R multiple. So when I set out to open a trade, I'm prepared to risk 1R on a trade, which is my risk amount I'm prepared to lose on any trade. So I'm nearly in profit by 8 times my risk amount. And my goal with trading is to get those big R multiple wins in there and keep my losses to no more than a 1R loss. And with the weekly system, it's always a bonus if you receive dividends along the way, and that also helps increase your income as well. Now this trade's still open, as you know, but the last trade I shared with you is no longer open. So let me show you what's happened with that one. So here's a chart of a share that I had entered into this year on the 19th of February. Now this share is Mayne Pharmaceuticals. I entered into it when it moved into blue sky territory. And just to show you, the highest point it had ever been was over here, at this point here. And then it pushed higher and pushed through it, but it kept rejecting it around this level here and wasn't able to go beyond it for some time. And then when it pushed beyond it, and it was still in its confirmed uptrend, I entered into it. And it even pushed higher and managed to push through the dollar mark. It did have a retracement, which I wasn't concerned about, because as long as it held this support level, that was a good sign. It held the support level and it moved higher. But then it struggled and struggled, and it eventually pushed through the support area, and my stop loss was hit. Now my stop loss did move up a little bit after I entered it, because any time a share makes a new higher close, my stop loss will move up. So I held this trade for a total of 173 days, and I lost half my risk amount on the trade, and it was a negative 11.7% return on that total trade size. So I only set out to lose 1R, and I did lose half of that on this trade. So I entered in at 91.5 cents and I was stopped out at 81 cents. So that's pretty much what my trade would look like, whether it's a winning or losing trade with the weekly system. I enter into it, and then the stop loss is eventually hit, and it will either be profitable or unprofitable. But as long as those losses are small and kept small, and I don't go beyond a 1R multiple loss, then I'm happy, and I want to get onto those big R multiple wins, as I've already mentioned. So let me share with you now another trade that I have open with my weekly system that I opened this year, and I will continue to keep you updated on that trade as well. So here it is here. This is a chart of another trade that I opened on the 10th of April this year with the weekly system. Now this share, if we go back and have a look, has been hit hard. It had a recovery and it continued to be hit hard again. And it had struggled to move beyond $5. Now I've got a lot of information on the charts because I like to put my notes on there for you. Now I was interested in this share if it did move beyond $5. I knew it had another resistance level here up about the 575 mark, but that was far enough away for me to have a break-even trade running if it didn't push through this level. And $5 is a nice significant round number. So when it did push through $5 and it came up in my weekly system the week before, I entered into it the next week at $5.19. Now it has managed to move higher since I entered into it, and likewise my stop loss has moved higher. I've just realised I haven't put my stop loss on the chart of this share, so let me add it to the chart now. Okay, so there you go. You can see that my stop loss has moved higher on this one, and that's where it's currently sitting. So I have the stop loss starting from the moment I bought into it, and it will continue to move higher as the share makes higher closes, and then it flatlines until a new higher close is made. Now I have recently received a dividend of 12.5 cents this month for this share as well. So to date I have held this trade for 155 trade days, and based on where the stop loss is sitting at $5.26, I have a 3.8% return on my investment right now, and I am in profit with a 0.3R on this trade. So hopefully it will continue higher and I will have the opportunity to make a bigger R multiple win on this one as well. But of course I've got no idea what's going to pan out, and the only thing I can do is to trade my system and trade my plan. Now last newsletter I shared 3 daily system trades I had opened. Now they are all closed out now, and the reason for that is I've also been away travelling. I went overseas to the US in August for 2 weeks, so I flew out on the 3rd of August. So on the Friday the 1st of August I had to close down any system trades that I had open with my daily system. Now I don't close down any weekly system trades because they're long-term trades. I can leave them be for a longer period of time and not worry about them. I only need to look at them once a week. If I don't get to look at them for a couple of weeks, it doesn't matter because I have my stop losses in the market. But with the daily system, I do look at these daily and I move my stop losses up daily. So if I'm traveling, especially if I'm in another country in a different time zone, I don't want to have to worry about having to also check the market. So I made the decision, because I was going to be away for 2 weeks in a different time zone, to close any of my daily system trades down. So this was one of them. I entered into this one on the 2nd of July, which I shared with you previously. It was a retracement trade where the share had been in a nice uptrend, rising and falling, and when it fell back to a support level and bounced up, I entered into it. Now it continued higher beautifully, and I simply exited out on the 1st of August at $1.54.5. Now it did have a gap down, which isn't very favourable, so I was quite happy to exit on that day. Now if I hadn't have exited, my stop loss would eventually have been hit and I would have been taken out of the trade anyway. It has managed to make equal highs since then, but overall I would have been stopped out of the trade no matter what happened here. Now I held this trade for a total of 30 trade days. I made 11.7% on the total trade size. Now it was a margin with a CFD and I outlaid 10%, so based on the margin that was a 117% return. And it was a 1.3R multiple, and that's pretty much on par with an average trade of 30 days for me with this system. So let's go over and see what happened with the 2 other trades as well that I had opened and shared with you. Okay, here's the other trade that I also had to exit down because I was going overseas. I entered into this one on the 21st of July at $1.25, and 11 days later I did have to shut it down at $1.36. So I did make back my risk size on this trade. I made a 1R. I made 8.6% on the total trade size and 86% on the CFD margin. Now the share didn't do a whole lot. It did continue to move up higher and my stop loss did move up slightly, but then after a couple of weeks it failed and the stop loss would have been hit. So I would have either exited at a time stop or I would have just left it be at my stop loss, and I still wouldn't be in this trade now anyway. Now the next trade I want to share with you, I actually didn't get to exit on the 1st of August. My stop came the day before. So let me show you what happened with that one. So here you go. This one was looking like a really nice breakout when it moved beyond this resistance level and also up to 20 cents. So I entered into it with that nice breakout and really huge volume. It shot up and then it completely gapped down and hit my stop loss, and I was taken straight out of the trade. I held this trade all of 4 days. So it was a quick, fast trade, that's for sure. And that's what happens with your losing trades. You will exit them first and you will hold on to your winning trades for longer. So when you first start out with a trading system, you will take your losses first because they're the trades that will hit your stop first, and it's the other ones you want to stick with and leave them running. So I lost a 0.6R multiple on that trade. I didn't lose my full 1R risk on it, which was great. So I did still take a small loss on that trade. And based on the margin of a 10% outlay, it did equate to a 151% loss on the margin and a 15% loss on the trade size. Now that looks like a big percentage loss, but when you position size a trade accordingly and it's only a very small price stock, that's the reason why the percentages look a lot larger. But what I'm interested in is making sure I didn't lose more than my 1R loss on this trade. So if you're trading, say, with $20,000 and you're prepared to risk 2% of that, then $400 would be your 1R. If you're risking, say, $50,000 and you're prepared to risk, say, 1% of that, $500 would be your 1R. Or maybe you're prepared to risk 2% of $50,000, which would be $1,000. So if $1,000 was your R, I've lost $600 on this trade, and I would be setting out to lose $1,000 on the trade. And I don't want to lose any more than that on a trade, as I've mentioned. And I know I've repeated myself a few times about that. I just can't stress enough the importance of making sure you keep your losses small, and that's the only control you have over your trading. So now that I've shared the trades that I had open in my last newsletter and then now closed down, I want to share a couple that I have opened up now that I've come back from my trip. I came back around the 16th of August and I started opening trades up when I started to get some good signals again. So I pretty much was starting fresh with my daily system. So on the screen here is a trade that I opened on the 18th of August. I bought into this trade at $2.91 when it broke through this support level. So it basically came up in my system scan that day. When I hit the daily scan button and I pressed explore, it came up in that scan and I liked what I saw on that day. So I simply entered into it before the market closed that day, and that's based on the scan that I run at 3 p.m. Now it has managed to move higher, and so has my stop loss. So right now I am in profit based on where my stop loss is sitting with this trade, and the stop's sitting under the nice round number of $3. So I'll keep you updated with what happens with this one as well. So let's have a look at the next trade that I've got open. Okay, I entered into this trade on the 25th of August at $2.47. It had been going sideways for quite a period of time, and then it burst through the resistance level with nice volume. It then had a pullback, and then it's moved higher, and so has my stop loss. So these two trades look very similar, and you can see why I entered into them. I have also received a very small dividend of 2.7 cents on this trade on the 3rd of September. So once again, that's another long trade that I currently have open. But I've also been seeing some short trades coming up in my scans, and I recently opened a short trade last week. So let me share one of those trades with you too. Here's a trade that I've just opened 2 trade days ago. It actually had an ex-dividend drop here, that's what you're seeing in the gap here, but actually then broke through support after the ex-dividend drop. Now to see the channel, this is the support area here I have on the chart, and as you can see, touch, 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 some near touches, and then wham bam, it pushed through that support level, and it came up in my short scan that day, so I simply entered into it. So there you go. There's 3 trades that I have open in the market with my daily system that I'll keep you updated on. And I also have 2 weekly system trades I will continue to keep you updated on. I always like to share with you my trades so you can see how I actually apply my trading systems to the market. And of course, I have no idea what's going to happen with any of those trades. The only control I have is to trade my trading plan. Now, if you don't have a trading plan, then I highly recommend buying my book Smart Trading Plans. It's a step-by-step guide to developing a trading plan. And any professional trader will tell you that you must have a trading plan in the market. It's important that you plan the trade before you open the trade, and you know up front your entry trigger and your strategy for risk management. And your risk management starts before the trade is even opened. You need to determine how you will size the trade before you even open it and where your stop loss will be set. And then how are you going to manage the trade thereafter? You need to have a stop loss strategy. You need to have rules around when you will add to a trade and what other triggers will occur for you to take action with a trade. Triggers like, when would you take a windfall profit? Would you sell half under certain conditions occurring? And would you aggressively exit if something occurred in the chart of that share? You need to have a plan for them now and not figure it out on the day. There's nothing worse than undertaking a feel-good strategy on the day only to regret it later. I call feel-good strategies the things you do in the moment to make you feel good now, but in hindsight you would not have done them if you had have had a plan. And that's things like letting go of profits too early, or taking an unnecessary loss that wouldn't have been a loss after all. And if you have a plan and strategy, then you will know how to act rather than act in the moment with a feel-good strategy. And of course, if you need help and you like my style of trading, then check out my Smart Trading Plan and System Development course. This is a 12-session online course where I guide you step by step through my trading plan and assist you to develop your own plan along the way. I provide you with all the MetaStock codes to my trading system. And if you don't have MetaStock, I explain what the codes mean so you can code it up into your own charting software. And I show you exactly how I trade the market, what I do each day, each week, each month, and so on. I want you to get inside my head and discover how I trade the stock market. And in this course you get comprehensive course notes, you get supporting audios, and also videos with each session that showcase how I do things. And you can either purchase the course on its own or in a training package where you'll also receive my additional tools such as my Smart Trader spreadsheet, which I use to track and manage my trades, MetaStock training to teach you how to get MetaStock set up to exactly how I use it, as well as a yearly membership to my Mastermind membership program, where I have a couple of webinars a year and a discussion forum. And there's also one-on-one mentoring with me in my Ultimate Smart Training Pack. So make sure you head on over to my website and have a good look around. And if you haven't already received my free special report, simply enter your name and email on the homepage and I'll send you my top 10 tips to smarter trading. You'll also get notified when my next newsletter video is available. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My contact details are in the Contact Us area of my website. So goodbye for now.